Welcome to A Wealth of Useless Knowledge, where we dive into some fun and entertaining topics. You're sure to learn something new here, and maybe even have a laugh or two. Now let's get into today's video. We all love music, and regardless of the genre, there are 1,000,001 songs that live in our heads rent-free. But the way we listen to music now via streaming services like Apple Music, Spotify, and more are a far cry from the boombox-hauling, portable CD player carrying ways of the past, and that's all thanks to the iPod. But how did the iPod get so popular, and what caused its demise? Grab your headphones and let's rewind to the early 2000s. Apple founder Steve Jobs had been long envisioning a device that could put hundreds of songs in the palm of your hand and decided to work on making that become a reality. Jobs recruited the aid of former Philips employee Tony Fadell to help invent the first iPod as an alternative to rival the many standard, sometimes clunky, hard to use, and often with limited storage MP3 players that were out on the market at the time. Within just about 8 months, they were able to develop the first gen of the device that would eventually change the landscape of the music industry and the way we listen to our favorite tunes forever. The first version of the iPod was released in October 2001, just over 8 months after the iTunes app was released on Mac. The iPod was launched in a 5 gig model with the ability to house 1,000 songs right at your fingertips.
iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket.
And it featured a physical scroll wheel, making it easy to browse through your music selection, making it an appealing product for many, considering the way we've been listening to music in decades prior. The prospect of having a device that wouldn't skip when you hit a speed bump, and you didn't have to carry around a stack of CDs or a pack of batteries with you, if you know you know, made this upcoming device one that people couldn't wait to get their hands on. Shortly after the device launched, execs at Apple soon realized that although the player was good, it needed more storage to be able to adapt to listeners' rapidly growing music tastes. Just a few months later, they released a 10 gig model, and the following year, the company decided to launch a second-gen version in 2002 that featured a touch-sensitive scroll wheel instead of a manual click one, and they were also released in both 10 and 20 gig models. Keeping with the momentum, in 2003, Apple released their first complete redesign with the third-gen models that flaunted even more storage, as it would now come in 30 and 40 gig models. By the time the fourth-gen iPod rolled around in 2004, Apple released the photo and color version of the device too, so that listeners could now house music videos and photo libraries, which was a true game changer. No more waiting for MTV to air your favorite music artists' videos. You can now watch them anywhere, anytime, right at your fingertips. Needless to say, with the ability to now house music videos and photos, there now had to be another increase in storage capacity, and it was delivered in 40 and 60 gig models soon thereafter. In 2005, a revamped 80 gig model was released, and in 2007, Apple had released a slimmer, sleeker-looking model in anodized aluminum silver that would replace the classic white design we've been seeing for years. In addition to the stylish new design, it flaunted the largest storage of any device from the classic lineup, coming in 120 and 160 gig models. As Apple continued to release newer classic models with more storage, alongside those, they released 2 versions of the iPod mini that later transitioned into the iPod Nano, which came in a wide range of colors and style options from metallic to neon shades and more. All in all, Apple released 7 generations of the iPod Nano from 2005 to 2012, as well as 4 generations of the iPod Shuffle that flaunted no screen and was tiny enough to clip onto a backpack or pocket for the ultimate convenience, making it a great choice for hikers, bikers, and anyone with an active lifestyle who didn't fancy having the distraction of a screen. Over the course of the iPod's many releases, the company finally landed on the iPod Touch, which was the closest thing you could get to an iPhone, without the actual phone part, of course, as it lacked the necessary component of a SIM card. It bore a striking resemblance to the iPhone itself and flaunted many of the same capabilities, from the ability to download games and apps from the App Store to a large storage capacity and an easy-to-use interface. From 2007 to 2019, Apple launched 7 iterations of the iPod Touch, with the final model being equipped with a whopping 256 gigs of storage, their largest one yet. Over the course of the iPod's just over 2-decade-long run, Apple released 5 styles of the music player, from classic to touch, with 32 models total. Apple had no doubt achieved a triumphant feat in the world of portable music and had a long run with the iPod. But with the rise in popularity of the iPhone and all of the features that the latest version of the Gen 7 iPod possessed also being available on the modern iPhone, there was no longer a need to have both. Due to this, it was announced by Apple back in 2022 that the iPod was being discontinued, with just the latest models of the iPod Touch being available on their website while supplies last. As of today, it appears as though those models didn't last long, but a wide range of iPod models can still be found on tons of resale sites like eBay, OfferUp, Mercari, and more if you still want to snag one. As of 2022, the player had sold over 450 million units. Today, music lovers have the ability to access over 90 million songs with Apple Music via the iPhone, making the need for the iPod obsolete. But I want to hear from you guys. Did you have an iPod back in the day? Do you still use one, or are you more into streaming or older methods of listening to music like CDs or record players? Let me know. Also, if you love music just as much as I do and are interested in hearing the origin of some of the most popular music samples, check out my Sample Origins playlist. I've got it linked for you down below. If you found this video educational or entertaining, it would be
really delightful
if you would like, share, and hit that subscribe button for more content. As always, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep learning.